Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Another summer day in New Jersey, another podcast
In Jersey.
in Jersey.
Yeah.
You can feel it getting a little cooler now, the end of August, John.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. The nights are cooler now,
yeah.
too.
I still haven't been down the shore. I mean, I'm just running around
I
all the
went
time.
one day. One
Yeah,
day.
we got to get down there. I love the shore. September, when it gets just a little bit cooler,
Yeah. And the crowds are gone.
and the crowd, the people.
Right?
I want to be by myself.
Yeah. And let's face it.
know.
Who the hell is going to jump into that surf and swim 150 yards out into the ocean like we were numbnuts when we were 17 years old?
Yeah.
We just never thought.
The lifeguard had to blow the whistle and go like this.
We never thought. Look, I was a lifeguard,
Yeah,
not on the,
yeah.
not there. But the point was, I never really thought too much about sharks.
Yeah.
It's like it's like
John, you're in their home. The oceans, that's their house.
100%.
Somebody comes in your house, you're going to attack them. Somebody's in their house, I don't want to go in their house.
Well,
I go like this with the little splash.
I used to raise tropical fish for years, and whatever you tapped onto that surface tension of the water of the fish tank, they all came up. They all came up to check it out and to give it the eye, and whoop,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if they could eat it, they would.
What did you like about the fish tank? I mean, to me, it's ridiculous to have a fish tank. I mean, okay, you see a fish. I mean, he's floating around. I mean, if you had big fish, it was, some people had big fish and they'd feed them the little fish. Was it soothing? Some people said it's relaxing.
No, I thought it was.
You had the little windmill in there?
I thought it was National Geographic and
Angelfish?
I had all sorts of tropical fish, but we didn't just have them to kind of sit there and scratch our chins and watch.
Oh, what'd you
them
do,
float.
race them?
We bred them.
Really?
Yeah. We bred African cichlids, African mouth breeders.
African mouth. What is a cichlid and a mouth breeder?
Well,
I've been called a mouth breather. That guy breathes out of his mouth all the time. I mean, so what is that? I mean,
mouth breeders.
are those exotic? Those two?
Well, I guess compared to what's in the rivers, up by Peckman's Brook and Cedar Grove.
The Passaic
I
or the
remember-
Hudson?
I remember going up there with friends in grammar school. We
Yeah.
went to Devil's Hole and we had fish tank fish nets, and we were catching all of these little tiny little.
Yeah.
I guess they were babies. I don't know what
Yeah.
they were, but we took them home and fed them to our tropical fish, and the next day all the tropical fish were dead. That's
Wow.
Now you know.
Wow.
Now
What's that
you
tell you?
know
That's years ago.
How polluted the Peckman's River is.
Wow, it was right behind the industrial village, right? Oh, yeah, and who knows what they were throwing out there. That little stream glowed in the dark at night.
I know.
All right, so you have these exotic fish, right?
Yeah.
Now, how much, does exotic fish cost?
Well, but look, this is back in the
Well, prorated to, today. I mean,
my tropical fish breeding days went back late 60s to late 70s, probably maybe 8 years we did it for.
Okay.
And a real expensive fish back then
Yeah.
I think was like $12. It was a
Okay.
discus. I was like, oh wow, look at this. Oh, they call it a discus because it looks like a discus.
Wow, no kidding.
It's this big disc that just sits there and kind of,
Paper thin, right?
It's like, look at
All right.
a discus.
All right, so what? I don't get the joy in that, but okay. So these African fish come up.
Yeah.
You got them. You're paying 12, 20, whatever you're paying. Now, are they definitely going to mate? And what's the purpose of mating them? So you could sell the little fish?
I can't tell you if they're going to mate. All we knew is that if we separated what we thought were males and females, because you could tell by the color,
Okay.
the distribution of the colors
Yeah.
and on their gills, they would eventually get together, and they don't go at it like bees in flight. The male kind of does a little curl and starts to flip around the female, and all of a sudden,
All hell
give it
breaks
a couple
loose.
days later, and now the belly of the female is starting to get big. Now guppies, you can't stop guppies from mating, and we
Really?
have fancy tail guppies, and it's interesting because we paid good money for fancy-tailed guppies, and we used to breed them. And oh my God, they had these big, colorful tails, you know. And
Well, what do you do with a
but
tank
listen,
full of
in
guppies?
the
I don't
in
understand.
the outfalls, an outfall is an open sewerage ditch. Like if
Yeah.
you've ever seen pictures of, or if you, I've never really spent any time trekking through Europe, but in a lot of old cities that are like many, many, many hundreds of years old, like older than 500 years old, there are these, masonry apartment buildings, and then there's cobblestone streets, and then right at the base of the building is like a gully, and it's for water runoff.
Yeah.
But guess what else it's for, kiddo? That scene from Monty Python on the Holy Grail was no joke. When at the end of the movie, when King Arthur looks up at the castle and says, what does he say in the name of whoever, open this, answer me, open this, and then,
Well, yeah.
and they throw shit down on him, and he goes, in the name of God.
So ridiculous.
They were
It was so
outfalls.
funny. Yeah.
And the Caribbean has outfalls everywhere to this very day.
Wow.
And if you go and look at those outfalls, they have red crabs, which are red before you cook them. They live in little crab holes, and if they don't see you, they're all out doing their little fiddle thing and stuff, and they're going like this and eating stuff. And you go near them, and whoop, they all go back into their holes.
Sure.
But if you look closely into the outfalls, there's thousands and thousands of fancy-tailed guppies.
Okay.
Don't ask me how they got there.
Okay,
I think
that's
the
interesting.
Pleiadians put them there because it's an island.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting.
So we would, you could tell there were two little spots on the side of the female's abdomen. And when they got really, really full and these spots turned dark,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it was just it was eminent that the babies were going to start popping out.
Wow.
Yeah, and then if you wanted
So
them
now
to
you had to-
live, you had to catch them in a net and put them in a little baby breeder tank, a little baby tank.
Wow.
So that they didn't get eaten. 'Cause
So now you had a fish full of tank. Fish full of tank. A tank full of fish. Thank you for. Do you know what that word is?
Yeah,
Do you know what that is?
Tartaria.
Yeah.
It's an ancient civilization.
Really?
Yeah, and
I met somebody.
but I can't remember where it is. Tartaria. It's somewhere like in Eastern Europe.
Okay, because remember I told you I met somebody yesterday. We had an interesting conversation
Yeah.
who we're going to get on the podcast.
Right.
That's something she wrote on a piece of paper, and she just slipped. She looked around, and she just slipped it over like this, like passed it away. And I had to do like the cards in
This was
Vegas,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh, well, I'm not sure what this is, but okay.
The secret password that's supposed to
Yeah,
open
yeah,
a portal
yeah.
for you.
Yeah, so I said I'll pass on this information.
Yeah.
She goes, you better do that. And I'm like, okay. So I just passed it on in front of millions and thousands of people around the world. And you told them all what the secret was,
Yes.
Tartaria. All right, that's interesting.
Carlo, are you watching?
Carlo, hey, Carlo. I wanna- listen to me.
TV.com, are you watching?
Yeah. I want to say how privileged we are to have our viewers out there, our steady viewers,
Yeah.
especially somebody like Carlo,
Yeah.
who's always positive.
Yeah.
Even if, one podcast might be a little slow, not so busy, maybe we repeating ourselves because, at our age, we're repeating ourselves, at least I am. I said, but Carlo's always there in the comments,
Yeah.
and he's always saying something positive.
Yeah.
So, Carlo, thank you for that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And then there are others.
They don't know how much that means.
No, I know that. And then there are others who I've known since kindergarten
Oh.
who take their little clandestine secret pot shots at me in the inbox on Instagram.
Disgraziad. That's terrible.
what?
Come on, we're two guys having a conversation with a little coffee over here
That's it.
in Jersey. It's not easy in Jersey to survive, and we come in and we're like we don't have enough things to do, right?
Right. And
I
then
mean-
we have the communazi platform,
Yeah.
messing with us with our views.
Sons
and
of
we know
bitches.
that there are seriously, we know we have thousands of viewers in
right.
about 7 foreign nations now.
Yes.
But the platform refuses to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
You jerk offs.
The platform.
Yeah.
Well, John,
You'll
we
get yours one day. You platform people.
we will not be deterred, John, at all. You know what I'm saying? And you know, on the platform, I'm thinking that these are younger people. All right.
Sure they are.
So younger
They're not
people.
people our age.
No, they're fresh out of college.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so you think they'd be a little more open because it didn't
Oh no.
didn't
no.
debate start in college, John?
No, listen, these little fucking weasels.
No,
Oh, I
that's
thought
the
that
wrong-
was the red button.
These little.
These little weasels
Yeah.
have disdain for their parents. They must have disdain for
Who
their
are paying for the
grandparents
school.
because we're the age of their grandparents. We are.
Yeah.
Their parents are probably in their mid to late 40s.
But actual debate about topics
There
started
will be
in
no debate.
Yeah, what happened? It started in college where you did question the status quo, right? Why things are the way they are.
Right.
And why aren't they this way? So I get that.
Let me tell you what we
How
are.
would you not like a debate?
We are.
Don't say dinosaurs.
No, we are the prisoners of war in Hogan's Heroes, and when they say or do something,
Great
it
analogy.
goes from Schultz to Colonel Klink. Klink grabs his little stick and says, "I will take this up with the Führer." Right? And
Yeah, I
the
remember that.
platform is
Yeah.
the Führer, and these stupid numbnuts platform workers think that they're doing something good. They're getting paid for it. If people wonder, would people really shock an experimental subject with a transformer and an electric charge because they're getting paid for it? That's all ancient history. People did that gleefully. If you think that a bunch of college kids wouldn't put a gun in your face with the letters IRS on the back of a blue jacket, like somehow or another there's going to be a movie or a long-standing, award-winning TV series, IRS, bum, 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 and it's going to be Bobby Taylor from Montclair State. It's going to be so-and-so from Arizona State. And it's going to be the people from Villanova who are Jesuits that couldn't make the Secret Service or the FBI, who will be then wearing a gun with a jacket that says IRS. Bah! How's that for an insult?
Going back to Hogan's Heroes, do you know who played Hogan?
Yeah.
What was his name?
Crane, Bob Crane.
Yeah, hold on one second. I'm filming a podcast. Can I call you back, please? All right, thank you. All right. That's the lovely Jacqueline. So Bob Crane, you know how he died?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, now he was bludgeoned to death
Somebody beat him to death with
in a bedroom.
candlestick in the master bedroom.
What did that guy do to deserve to die like that? They said there was a movie camera in there. Like there was a camera set up.
We'll
like
never know, but apparently he was into a very dark private world. Yeah.
sexually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've heard that, right?
Yeah, he seemed like such a nice guy, clean cut, funny.
So does Joe Biden.
Oh, let's go, Brandon. What? Speaking of Joe Biden, John, and we were on the topic of colleges. What about this college relief
Well, this is a stunt.
bill?
This is a stunt that they released into the Circus Act. That
What happened?
this is a stunt that they released into the Circus Act.
Hold on. Why production? I'm yelling at you back there. Wwhy did you not do that? Take
It's
care.
okay.
Thank you.
It's
All right.
okay.
Cut
Well, it's
them
gonna
from
be-
the squad.
It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. So Joe Biden, college.
it's a stunt. It's a political stunt, and I'm going to tell you why it's a political stunt. Because it once again. It's like throwing feed to starving chickens. What does that mean? Are we starving? Yeah, the people, the United States, the American people are starving chickens, and politicians, left or right, they throw the feed, and immediately there's a squabble because they're all fighting to make sense of the feed and to gobble the feed. What does that mean? People who are against college tuition debt relief are the people that already paid their college off, right? Because if you had
Oh, and there's a lot.
if you had 2 or 3 or 4 kids in college, you'd be screaming, "Oh my God, what a manna from heaven! Thank you, Democrats and Joe Biden."
You had two that went through
I'm
college,
the-
right, John?
4, 4. I have 3 kids, but I put 4 kids through college.
Who'd you put through? Did somebody else?
A,
Somebody you're not talking about? I mean,
no. I'm not going to mention her name because
Okay.
that's not right. But as a pledge to the young man, my patient who passed from leukemia, he's also the young man that bred my Wolf Husky hybrid Lucky.
okay.
He is a soulmate of mine, the patient, and his gift to me was Lucky, who
Wow.
is also a soulmate of mine and follows me into astral traveling. And you really should, if you haven't, read the chapter on Jorge in my book.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a jaw dropper about how things come together, and there's no way it could be that way. But anyway, I was pledging to do something wonderful in my patient's name. We got him past his 15th birthday,
Wow.
and then he passed.
How long had you known him, John? Up until 15?
From August of 2011 to March of 2012, which is when he passed.
Wow.
My dog Lucky was born Christmas Day, 2011. Talk about
Wow.
checking all the boxes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Not the 26th, not the 24th.
Fourth, the 20
Christmas Day,
frickin'
for what that's
wow.
worth. So
Interesting.
anyway, the question again was who was. So I started a scholarship at Rutgers for socioeconomically needy kids who got into Rutgers, and I paid the bill.
Wow. Very generous, John.
Yeah, no, it was, and
That's unbelievable.
I'll let it go at that
Yeah.
because Rutgers University then turned around, God bless you, Rutgers, and denied my son transfer access. So when I ponied up gobs of cashola out of my post-tax dollars to put a kid through 4 years of college, they said, "Oh, if you ever want your kids to come here, oh, just ask, just say so." I wasn't looking for a discount. I wasn't looking for debt forgiveness. I wasn't looking for a freebie. All I wanted was, all of a sudden, he wanted to transfer from one college to the next.
Wow.
And you know what they said? Now, all they had to do was take him in, take my money, and enroll him.
It's not-
enroll him for all I did. And yeah. So guess what?
Wow.
You and me, Rutgers, I got a bone to pick.
Persona
Bone to pick. It's a big red R. Bone to pick.
persona non grata. And it's not like your son is not a tremendous student. I mean,
Well,
Jesus.
you know something? You know what?
That kid is brilliant.
I think they really, and then of course after they after they basically spit in my face, then they continued their solicitation of me for more money. Well, but that's just the way.
Could it be one hand didn't know what the other hand was doing over there? I mean, it is a big school.
No,
No. Okay.
no.
That is
So
ridiculous.
am I over it? Yeah, of course. But you know what? The big red R, you should not have done that.
Yeah.
You made a mistake, and that's it.
Wow.
Anyway,
Yeah, Jorge.
So school tuition, debt relief, all that stuff. Apparently, this is a stunt. It's a circus act, but very few people are recognizing that and talking about it because they want the people that are anti-Biden to say, what do you mean? You know, they want the Republicans and the conservatives to say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. This is wrong. Nancy Pelosi's on a video. She's trying to get her false teeth plate back up, and she's saying, the president doesn't
You got to do the
have-
hand, John. How she does with the hand.
The president doesn't have the authority to forgive debt.
She's going like this.
So that's an act of Congress.
I mean, that video went on for like a good 2 minutes. Like she was saying how the president
I know.
had no right, no power,
Right, so-
no authority.
And the people on the right are saying it's an impeachable offense. I'm like, I'm not to the left of center. And it's like, knock it off with the impeach shit. Come on. I mean, there's so much going on in the world. You want to impeach Joe Biden because he's just launched a circus act before the midterms.
Wow.
That seemed to be so crucial. And here's the circus act. Apparently, it's a one-shot $10,000 deal. Get out of debt free for $10,000. That's not changing anybody's world.
No.
It's not. It's not. And the price tag on that is
Almost $1 trillion? Or-
no. I think it's like $58 billion.
Ah.
$58 billion. Right.
That we're going to pay.
Oh no. I'm sorry. Here's the number. I had to remember. It's in excess of $350 billion.
Ay,
Right.
ay, ay.
Now, here's the interesting part. The left or the Biden supporters or the Democrats give an argument like, well, you know, you think it's okay to subsidize the military to the tune of $100 billion. Or guess how much the military budget is in the United States every year ongoing? Guess how much it is? Take a stab at it.
For some reason, $1 trillion. I don't know.
All right, it's like $380 billion for the fucking military. Now, when I say fucking military, I don't mean the men and the women that are there. I don't mean for the.
There's a lot of levels to that military.
Yeah. I don't mean for the heart and the soul and for what they do. That's not what I'm talking about, people. I'm all for the military in that sense. And let's face it, we live in a dog-eat-dog world. Every country has to have a formidable military. Not every country does. Apparently, Europe doesn't have a single formidable military, so the United States has got to foot the bill and be sending tons of weapons and cash and resources covering NATO's ass.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. So let's say it's $850 billion a year. Well, we just sent $70 billion to Zelensky and the communazis, the Nazis down in the. You know, I have an old friend from high school argues with me. They're not Nazis. There's only 15% that are Nazis. Only 15%. No, well, that's number one. That's your number, 15%. But the Azov Battalion is apparently, in large part, ostensibly Nazis. And here we are sending them $70 billion plus huge amounts of armaments that they're apparently weaseling and selling on the black market to God knows who. And
Wow.
and $80 billion to bolster the IRS with those idiot college students that are getting groomed and coerced. I saw the videos. You're going to jail, buddy. Hey, guess what? Fuck you. You're going to jail. You have no idea what it means to be fleeced. So you haven't even begun to work your ass off to pay taxes. You stupid idiot. You stupid undergrad idiot that you think it's a good idea that you're going to put somebody that's 2 or 3 times your age down on their knees and have a Glock 45 on your hip. Who the hell do you think you are? You know something? The world's going to pay you back with a big, fat, painful, rude awakening if that's the path you take. Because if you take that path, you, I promise, will be here with a big flag over your head saying, I'm in service to myself, doo-dah, doo-dah. You can all go fuck yourself. I'm in service to myself. And that's what you are. You're in service to yourself. You want to get your egotistical rocks off by wearing a gun and parading around like you're pseudo FBI, pseudo CIA, IRS. Oh, give me a break.
John, the IRS, that's not the only organization. Like, they're weaponizing, they're giving weapons to, like,
The weapons are going to the fucking EPA.
EPA,
You remember the
everybody.
Simpsons movie? They were living under that dome.
Yeah.
EPA. Remember EPA?
EPA.
Right.
But they're weaponized. Maybe that's where they're getting their ideas from. But
Simpsons,
yeah,
of course.
you said that before.
Right.
But I mean, weaponizing, giving all these people. I mean, what is going on here? The IRS is already a bigger military force than I think 70% of the countries.
Yeah.
Bigger army than 70% of the countries out there.
Yeah.
A little
Well,
scary.
Well, guess what? The IRS, with the 87,000 more agents, will have more armed agents than U.S. Marines.
That's ridiculous.
Apparently, there's only 180,000 U.S. Marines. I thought we had more than that, but I guess if you count all the different branches of the military, it's formidable. But so apparently, this circus stunt from Joe Biden is a $10,000 one-shot deal. That's costing, I think, $350 or $380 billion. People are arguing over the merits of paying off college student debt. I don't think that's the issue, but that's the chicken feed that was thrown out onto the ground to the starving chickens. So now everybody's squabbling over who owns the feed, who gets the right to eat the feed. Is it? So what about me? What about me? I put 4 kids through college, including my ex-wife. Got to call it like it is.
Absolutely.
So what? You're going to repay that money back to me? Yeah.
That would be no.
That was close to 700,000 post-tax dollars out of the kindness of our hearts.
Wow.
Joe Biden going to pay me back? Oh no, he's going to send one of his fucking new numbnut IRS agents after me to screw me to the wall after I've paid all my debt. So how is it working out now for people like me? How? Okay. All right, so is it going to stimulate more kids going to college? It's going to stimulate a higher IQ and better education for the populace. Therefore, when the level of the lake rises, all the boats rise. All the boats rise. So there's that story from the left, and there's the story from the right. But that ain't the story, gang. The real story from John Gerard Galucci is, why the fuck? Why did I guess how much my education cost me first semester? Now, I spent 6 full years as an undergrad because I just thought I knew what I wanted to do. Then I changed twice, and it took me 6 years to figure out what I wanted to do. The first semester cost me $500. Guess how I paid for it? By delivering liquor to the liquor store from Cedar Grove Liquors in Cedar Grove, New Jersey.
You worked for it.
I worked for it. And you know something? Nobody thought, my God, how could college be so dirt cheap? This was back in 1978. That's kind of what the going rate was. Now, maybe if you were in Notre Dame or Harvard or Stanford, the tuition was more expensive. But I wasn't. I was a state college kid, a local kid. $500. By the time I finished 6 full years later, each semester was around $1,100. And I thought that they cut my carotid artery. I thought I was hemorrhaging money to death. But I got a real eye-opener. When the first year out of college, I went to dental school at New York University, and just the tuition for that year was $16,000. Now, let me define tuition. That's the price tag. It's kind of like going to an automobile dealership and seeing the sticker price. The sticker price has all sorts of shit thrown in that you may not want, but if you want that car, if you want that education, you're going to pay that sticker price. Until you get inside and the salesman gets his can of Vaseline and starts greasing your undercarriage, and then the guy with the pointy shoes in the back, the guy with the Gucci suit, the Armani suit comes out. He's the He's the money manager guy, and he paints a completely different picture. And he starts factoring in numbers, and now all of a sudden, you're giving him your liver. Just take a scalpel, cut your liver out,
On
and
a platter.
all the blood that goes with it, and hand it to the guy with the pointy shoes. But it ain't over either. It's not over then. Then you go back to swing the deal to sign the papers on that big fucking smart tabletop. Do you want tire protection? Do you want this? Oh, well, what if the aliens attack? Well, we'll save your ass if the aliens attack, but that's going to cost you another $85 a month in your payments. And all of a sudden, you're done. You're into the monthly payments for way more than what you thought you could afford. And that's exactly what's going on with college. When my daughter went and got a film degree, she called me one night in tears, I need $800. And I went, what? Tuition at the time was like 73,000, and the president of the college gave an address and told us that we should be thankful that we weren't as high as the highest college in the nation, which was at that time NYU's undergrad in Manhattan by the Arches at 75,000 and change a year.
Did that guy try and pronounce your last name?
He's
Mr. Yeah, he probably pronounced it wrong.
He said we should be thankful. But what they didn't factor in was all the bullshit, like the tire protection and this and that, and the federal excise tax, whatever the fuck that is. I still don't know. And the destination. Oh, of course. Oh, everybody pays destination fee.
Filing fees. I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot to this.
That car's got to get taken off of that big vessel that's stuck out in the Pacific Ocean, and then they crane it down, and then they truck it all the way across the country to New Jersey to you.
A lot of tolls.
Fees? Right. So so my daughter needed like 800 and change for film. This was a fucking film school, one of the better regarded film schools in the country. What the hell do you need? Why do I have to pay for film if tuition's $73,000? Well, because they don't, battery's not included.
It was a la carte.
Battery's not included, right? And apparently that was, the historical aspects of the school, because nobody uses film anymore. Nobody. It's all computer digital.
John, the second the federal government got involved, I think Obama, he took over all the loans. The second the federal government got involved in tuitions and college and education, guess what? The price skyrocketed. Yeah. Meanwhile, all these colleges have endowments. What do they call that when a college?
Oh, well, endowments are
in the billions and millions.
Is private funds that are being given. Like if you ever
why aren't they lending?
When I was a kid, I used to live for like a special documentary that was like an hour and a half long, and they took us up into the polar ice cap, that kind of thing, and they got the scientists and they were drilling, big long tubes, and looking at what the Earth must have been like and the climate and all that shit from 4,000 years ago. Before the time of the Romans and Jesus and all of that stuff. Right? I used to love that. Then at the end, you'd hear that little academic voiceover, brought to you by the Rockefeller Foundation. And I think, oh, the Rockefeller Foundation. Oh,
how impressive!
How impressive! Boy. What a downer to find out that they're nothing but fucking common criminals in expensive suits that have co-opted the planet. Thank you, Rockefeller douchebags.
Yeah.
So those people, the Rockefeller douchebags and the Rothschild douchebags, you walk around Ithaca College, and you see all of these buildings, and you realize that they're just a bunch of concrete pillboxes. Then you come upon, and you're like, I wonder who put this place all the way up here, by the New York Finger Lakes, by Lake Cayuga. Then you look up, and you see the letters on a building, the Rothschild building, and they produce the mainstream media. They've put many well-known talking heads into your TV sets. The Rothschilds did it.
It's a great game plan.
It's a terrific game.
It's a great game plan.
And so here I am railing about the Rothschilds and the central bankers and the Rockefellers. And every year, my ex and I were ponying up probably $75,000 a year
Nice.
in post-tax dollars that we were working our asses off for to the Rothschilds.
Well, I'm sure your children appreciate it, John. That's for sure.
Yes, they do. And look,
That's-
I'm very proud of all three of my kids and the fourth that I put through school that
Yeah.
is not my kid. She's somebody who was selected by a selection committee to receive the scholarship.
That was a beautiful thing.
That's a feather in my cap. I love the fact that I did that, and I did that on behalf of my patient who passed, who bred my dog. We're soulmates. His family, him, and me. That's all there is to it. But Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act is a circus stunt. It's a magician's trick, and the real trick is him taking 800 billion U.S. Federal Reserve notes out of our pockets and sending them off elsewhere. That's he and his cronies are masterminds at fucking the populace. And this college tuition debt relief is just a smaller version of that. You're being fleeced every which way you can imagine. And then the cherry on the icing on the cake with the candles is the $80 billion to the IRS to send a bunch of numbnut co-eds to you to make you criminals for working your asses off in a world that you can no longer afford. Wow. Wow.
John, could you please
Alchemize?
shed some light on that last bit of darkness?
Yeah,
Give the people some hope out there.
right. Well, it's been said that you cannot have the light without the dark. You can't recognize the light without the dark. And you certainly can't recognize the dark without its contrasting light. And there are those of us who are of the light, and we are here in service to others. And there are those of us who are here in service to themselves, and they cannot get over the mentality or the ideology of people who apparently are of the light. As a matter of fact, it disgusts them. It disgusts them. And I'll try to make this quick because I know we're clicking away and coming up on 40 minutes. Celebrities that pledge their heart to Lucifer. I'm going to Greta you. How dare you? How dare you? Lady Gaga, come back down to earth before somebody pops your balloon, your helium balloon, and you crash head first down to earth. You will one day, my dear. You will. Anyway, apparently, when we reincarnate, we come and go over and over again, and we even have, at times, multiple lifetimes going at once, all for the betterment and the growth of humanity, the spirit, whatever. It's a bitter pill to swallow, knowing that we may have, in another lifetime, played a dark heavy. So the notion here, the true alchemy in this moment is to pray for your persecutors. That's right out of the New Testament. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And there are times when that escapes me, and there are times when it doesn't escape me. And the tough part is how many in this world who are of the light, who wouldn't hurt a fly, who are here to elevate humanity and elevate the vibration of the earth into fifth dimension, and I mean that. How many of those people actually take the time, even for 60 seconds out of 24 hours, to pray for people that we consider dark, ugly, and evil? Very few people do that. But maybe that's the trick ultimately in escaping the matrix, is to shed all the light we can upon them. You know, it's interesting. If there were a raging forest fire, and there are many, and many of them are set on purpose, don't kid yourself, but the answer to the raging forest fire that's consuming, tens of thousands of acres, and now it's taken 3,000 homes, is to douse it with water. Consider the water the light, and the forest, the ravaging forest fire, is the darkness, it's the evil. It's consuming everything in its path. The light doesn't consume. The light is expansive and growing and loving. The evil consumes. Be that deluge of water onto the raging, consuming forest fire. Just maybe, folks, maybe your heartfelt prayers will douse their flames and quell their evil and their darkness. All of these evil people at some point were somebody's baby, somebody's child, right? Imagine if your beloved children went down a path that really was antithetical to yours, and you realize one day, oh my God, he's a monster, she's a monster. What do I do? How did this happen? Well, wouldn't it be wonderful if other people prayed for your child who turned out to be a dark side monster? Just chew on that concept, because that really cuts through all the bullshit and gets to the heart of the matter. Pray for your persecutors, people, for they know not what they do. This life is temporary, and we are all being watched, I promise you. We are all being watched by the heavens, by our spirit guides, by our saints, by our angels, guardian angels, by our past relatives. And they're all cheering us on, and they're saying, no, vengeance doesn't belong to you. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. So don't think of revenge. They always say, if you think of revenge, dig two holes, one for your assailant and one for you, because there's a grave for each of you. So we'll wrap it up like that and say, vengeance belongs to the Creator, not to us as individuals. And forgive them, Father, they know not what they do, even though they know exactly what they're doing. In a spiritual sense, they have no idea what they're doing. And maybe, just maybe, in a previous life or in a future life or in a simultaneous life, you are the dark heavy. Pray it away, people. Raise your vibration, raise the vibration of the earth, and let's create heaven on earth. Amen.
Amen. Great job, John. Thank you for this episode. If you like what we're doing, people, press follow and like, and
Subscribe.
the Jersey Alchemist. What are you waiting
If
for?
you subscribe, you're kicking the platform. You know what you're doing? Picture the platform as a three-legged stool. Kick one of its legs out from under it. Subscribe.
Hey, Carlo, get your friends. Let's go.